Jensen Huang recently stood on stage and delivered a mandate to the enterprise world. Every company needs an OpenClaw strategy. To make that happen, NVIDIA immediately launched NemoClaw. They pitched it as the definitive way to run autonomous AI agents safely. Because of the name, the immediate assumption was that NemoClaw is a brand new AI agent designed to replace OpenClaw. That is incorrect. NemoClaw is actually a strict security wrapper built around the existing OpenClaw architecture. It installs a runtime called NVIDIA OpenShell to lock the agent inside a heavily monitored environment. If you are already running vanilla OpenClaw to automate your personal workflows, you have to decide if you need this new security layer today. NemoClaw's architectural requirements immediately clash with the personal hardware used by most independent developers, creating a significant barrier to entry. As this comparison matrix shows, this release fractures the AI developer community. It forces a choice between the absolute flexibility of the original open-source ecosystem and the zero-trust sandboxing required by corporate compliance. To run these new security layers safely, you need industrial-grade computing power. The software dependencies are rigid. You need a dedicated Linux machine running Ubuntu 22.04 or later, a running Docker daemon, and a completely fresh installation of OpenClaw. Docker is a platform that uses containerization to package software into standardized units for development and deployment. You also need a minimum of 8 to 16 gigabytes of RAM. Anything less, and the combined weight of the sandbox and the gateway triggers the Linux OOM killer. OOM, or out of memory, is a system process that forcibly terminates applications to keep the computer from freezing. Compare that to vanilla OpenClaw. Right now, users are freely running those agents on lightweight Mac Minis, standard Windows desktops, and even Raspberry Pis. By mandating a Linux-only environment with heavy containerization, NVIDIA's architecture immediately isolates developers who rely on consumer operating systems. User accessibility is entirely sacrificed to prioritize a hardened, isolated environment. For casual tinkerers, these hardware limits make it a non-starter. Beyond the hardware, there is a major shift in how NemoClaw handles the large language models that power the agent's logic. Vanilla OpenClaw is highly modular. You can hot swap the underlying brain at will, jumping between industry-leading models like Claude 3.5 Sonnet or OpenAI's GPT-4o depending on the task. As this architecture flowchart shows, NemoClaw severs these connections. It takes every inference request generated by the agent and routes it exclusively through the NVIDIA cloud via their OpenShell gateway. Inference is the process where an AI model uses its trained logic to generate a response based on new input data. To make this work, you must supply an NVIDIA API key, which forces you to rely entirely on NVIDIA's proprietary Nematron models. This severe bottleneck is an intentional security design. By restricting outbound communication to a single verified provider, the agent is physically incapable of secretly exfiltrating corporate data to unverified third-party servers. You trade the freedom to choose your preferred analytical tool for the guarantee of absolute network control. The final layer of protection stops the autonomous agent from destroying the host computer. NVIDIA calls this the policy engine. The engine physically restricts the agent's file access to strictly quarantined folders on the drive, specifically the /sandbox and /tmp directories. Running this engine requires heavy administrative labor. System admins have to write and maintain declarative YAML files just to grant the agent the basic network or file access. YAML is a human-readable data serialization language, commonly used for configuration files. If an agent hallucinates a destructive command, this strict protocol ensures it cannot alter core operating system files or overwrite critical data on the hard drive. But this creates massive friction during daily use. The agent is no longer seamlessly autonomous. Every time the agent tries to use a new tool or reach an unlisted web address, the system blocks it. A human operator has to manually intervene and approve the action through a terminal user interface. The policy engine guarantees safety by transforming a fluid AI assistant into a bureaucratic software process that constantly requires permission to act. Looking at this decision tree, we can split the audience to determine exactly who should install this day one alpha software today. If you are an IT director or a corporate architect tasked with deploying AI at scale, you are on the Enterprise Evaluator path. Enterprise users should adopt NemoClaw immediately in test environments. It provides the strict liability shield and the logging accountability required to pass corporate compliance audits. Then there is the independent developer path, which covers freelancers, solo tinkerers, and everyday Mac and Windows users. Independent developers must avoid NemoClaw for now. It will break your existing workflows, lock you out of your preferred language models, and demand unnecessary hardware overhead. This software serves as a specialized blueprint for securing corporate AI liability, prioritizing enterprise-grade compliance over consumer-level ease of use. For independent users skipping NemoClaw, there is still the question of how to protect yourself while running vanilla OpenClaw. The primary realistic risk for a solo developer is runaway API token bankruptcy. This happens when you give an autonomous agent an open-ended connection to a pay-per-use AI model. The immediate low-friction workaround is to connect your agent to AI models using OAuth instead of raw API keys. OAuth is an open standard for access delegation, allowing users to grant applications access to their information on other websites without giving passwords. Specifically, you can link a ChatGPT Plus account to your agent via OAuth. Doing this hard caps your financial exposure to a flat $20 a month, regardless of how many requests the agent makes. Taking this route means you sacrifice NemoClaw's enterprise-grade file sandboxing, but you retain ultimate flexibility over which models you use. By managing your financial risk with OAuth, you achieve practical safety without surrendering the architectural freedom that makes OpenClaw so powerful in the first place.